Hey, that's what you all think about that situation? I'm not going to mention any names. I mean, during the carnival season, we had like quite a few fairs, and but there was one particular fair where I think there were bodies laid down all over the place, and what I was seeing was a lot of youth, a lot of young people. I have a partner named Colin Weeks. He even commented on Facebook stating that, when he left home, coming down, all he was seeing was a lot of young people drinking, being drunk on the side of the road, and you're all young, talk to me, what's going on, what really going on if you I didn't see any of y'all, were you all there? What was going on?
Now, the situation, I can't even go at it in a way like I cannot. I have to attach myself to it because that was kind of me in the past. Okay. So at one point, that was definitely me. You see that guy in the chair there? Yeah, that was him as well. That was the two of us. And that is something that you can put a level of responsibility on them, but you have to look to the social upbringing and the other factors, the other variables put in that are making it reach that conclusion.
So what you think was the problem though? How could so much or so many young people, just went out and just decided to just live a life of just drinking all night and them not even having an idea as how to get home?
Well,
that's crazy. That's being irresponsible, would you say?
But when you have to look at it at the whole picture, what is there for young people to actually do in Solution? As I grew up and I became an adult, everything I see, I was like, okay, what I'm going to do now at night time? It's just cinema, fete, party.
So you now telling me, in order for you to enjoy life, you have to go out and drink. Is that what you're telling me?
Well,
is that what you say? You just said that.
No.
Basically, hold on. You just said that basically there's nothing for young people to do. So what are you really telling me? Is that what you have to do in order to have fun? I would really like you to elaborate on that a little more.
You see, the what we're looking at now is the result of the drinking culture. So it's not necessarily young people coming out to drink for that event, but it's the culture that's brewed from it. Now, I'm not on looking at it from a position where perhaps I may have never drank alcohol or never been involved, but the responsibility that we place on our young people to manage these sorts of things should actually be distributed and shared with the very organizers, because it's still, from my understanding, there were a lot of people there who were underage. Coolers were not being checked. I understood that the standard was poor even before the event began. I understood that they were even selling counterfeit tickets. So I don't think that the organization was intact. And then there's the drinking culture of having your son or your daughter sitting down on your lap and giving them a beer to drink for Christmas.
So you basically say a lot of times too, is the responsibility of the parents as to the upbringing of the young man and the young lady.
Yes, and also the organizers, because you can't plan an event and put things in place for young people to be safe. And if you are targeting minors, you don't do the same type of event that you do when you're targeting, the people who you expect to go out and drink and out to party and so on. But when we look at the young people and how they behave and how they reacted to these things, there's an underlying culture that we must realize that in the Caribbean, rum culture is a real thing. And a lot of us are not even really advocates for the other side of the spectrum, where we see that young people could live a clean life, or that even what we're promoting is apart from that. But then I still believe that there's not enough activities, positive activities.
Okay, so what do you think, would probably help bring you guys out a little more, friends, what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting, that you guys feel comfortable going out or whatever? Probably a youth club, spotting, something, I don't know. What do you think, that would help you all?
That is where we can bring up Chanzo. Who better to talk about Chanzo than the president of the organization.
And Chanzo comes from the word, it's a Kiswahili word really, and it means the source. So we look at it being symbolic of the source of water coming from the mountains. Basically, that we are bringing forward authentic and real knowledge from individuals on the ground who are looking to give back. So at the moment, we're actually going into our capacity building segment of Chanzo, where not just our executive, but our entire membership will be trained in public speaking, leadership, talks on advocacy and PR, and that is still open to all young people who want to become part of it.
Yeah.
So we are all
sounds good, man. So what do you do in your free time? I guess when you're home.
In my free time, I'm always a person that loves my books. I love to research. I'm always on my phone, getting information and that kind of thing.
You do a lot of googling.
Yeah, I do a lot of books. The phone and my like to happen is, so I have my books, I read stuff. Anything that has some interesting twists, I'm always there.
Okay.
I don't find that for me as somebody who's visually impaired that most of the activities cater to people like me who are visually impaired or are disabled.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Doctor.
Okay, because when you have all those feds, and those crowds, mass crowd event, you have somebody you can't really fit into those crowds, By the time for a person like me, 9 times, okay, it's very difficult for me to see.
Yeah.
So I could easily get lost in a crowd.
You feel left out?
Yeah, I could easily get lost in a crowd.
So what are you suggesting, like for people who are disabled, such as yourself, visually impaired,
Well, you could have
some fun things, for you guys to do?
Well, the promoters could have what is called probably a disabled section, or something that get them to feel more safe in a corner and so forth. Because if you're in a wheelchair, you have people moving about, dancing and so forth.
People in wheelchairs just dance too?
Yeah, I know, but I know you want to feel safe,
I know what you say.
Stumble over you.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
So that's accommodation for sure.
Yeah, accommodation.
I think that we accommodate, of course, the majority at this point, which, as you said, the culture is leading towards that. Each of us are individuals, we are perhaps different. I might consider my fashion or whatever I like to be intellectual, or I could still like partying, but just of a different variety. So what we're looking at is, even though we're small, St. Lucia being a small island, whatever, but we can still create that level of diversity because we still have very key elements missing. I mean, we don't even have an official museum here. If for recreation, I also concerned about history, and I consider myself an intellectual. Wouldn't I want to go to some place that has a lot of archive that could really, furnish me with that information, a museum, somewhere you could go get a tour. And these are things that could happen daytime or nighttime. And we could accommodate these things in various different fashions. It doesn't have to be, of course, people spoke of water parks and like these things are fun too, but you could have more tailored events, and then we could still do a better job at mapping them out, because some things happen. I've been to certain events and I didn't know about it until I was there, and I really felt that bad.
You went to certain events
and I didn't know about it until I got there.
Such as?
I remember there's one night around Rugby and ended up in different galas, different like little things that.
Oh, that's what you're talking about now.
Pockets of events. I think that perhaps even these organizers could do better. But yeah, we need variety, and we have to still identify the culture that's underlying what we're doing.
Now, you know what I'm thinking? This is where you guys come in. Try and organize stuff for yourself, such as yourself, the young people coming together, doing your little promotions, things that you all like doing. Why not start doing your own little promotional company, doing your own type of fetes or parties? What do you think?
Yeah,
Well, could start doing that. Isn't that what Chanzo is all about?
Yeah, because most of the individuals that come in through are very creative minds. They kind of like for example, he have his own business right now there. Most of us actually doing things for fulfillment, like we looking for fulfillment. It's not young people are looking for something to fill the void, and you really just have to make it easy for them. Yeah, we don't have to desperately look and go around the place trying and find something to do. Make it at least help us with the process, and I guess with the social responsibility part of it, we already have people within subdivisions that there for us, our own selves. We are we enabling. So like Chanzo coming through, and you're right, I try to say you're right. But boy, the other thing, I went to a poetry night by Head Funk at the Castries South constituency council hosted, and it was lovely. It was a poetry night I had some friends that performed at it. They had people giving poetry, spoken word.
Just stuff like that.
And it was very exciting. It was nice. It filled the void for me. I went to that and it was nice, and that is something that I don't really see, or I don't. If it's happening, I don't hear about it as much.
So you're into poetry and
yeah, I went to the writing, the arts in terms of music. I enjoy. Most of us enjoy music. Most of us enjoy some form of art. Yeah.
And you wanted to say something?
Yes, in terms of other things that we would enjoy doing, there's also extracurricular activities like going out on tours to see different locations in St. Lucia. Like I myself, although I've been here all my whole life, I feel very disconnected with it. I don't know many locations, whether it be on map or my personally just going there. Like, so we also had a social planning to go to Butterfly Mountain, and I thought that idea was pretty amazing.
Butterfly Mountain?
Yes, Butterfly Mountain. Grossly by
1P Mart.
Yeah. That's still a popular spot, but a lot of people don't know it. That's usually where they do the treks, basically.
Yeah.
At the beach. But then there's the entire mountain that could be climbed. There's ropes there, and it's still overlooking Hunters Bay, which is a private beach. People hike down there. And I mean, personally, my friends and I, we would always go cliff jumping in these areas.
Cliff jumping?
Cliff jumping. We'd go out and basically traverse the island, go all around, and find interesting places you could do that. What we have again is like sometimes small pockets, and we don't really bring everybody to that level. But again, the effort could be made. It could still be made in that, because I had a lot of fun doing that. But then that's still a daytime thing. When we're talking about nighttime life, it might not necessarily fit, but I think that's something young people love doing. Young people love to go out to waterfalls and into nature, and we're looking at ecotourism as being a hub. Because St. Lucia has a lot of places that are not even really photographed.
There you go. I mean, there's some great ideas.
Yeah,
I know what he's talking about. Your partner just spoke about you having a business. You own a business?
Yes, I do. I own a business called Cardinal Vegan Cuisine, where
Say it again.
Cardinal Vegan Cuisine.
Okay.
Where I operate from Corinth State, and I do deliveries twice a week to the north, Castries and Cruisley. So of course I actually cater for individuals who may not necessarily be vegan, but they want to have that flavor aspect.
Healthy lifestyle.
Healthy, yes. They want to eat healthy, but they still don't want to sacrifice the taste buds. They want flavor in their food. They want their food to be interesting.
I can vouch for the food. Like sometimes it tastes like chili food.
Basically, I think that most of the youth, don't really know what they want to do in life. I think a lot of people are searching for whatever they want to do, and because they're searching for whatever they want to do, they're experimenting and stuff. And sometimes whatever they're experimenting might not be the best for them, but that's basically what it is. The youth is basically experimenting. I think the education system don't really allow people to find their niche in terms of whatever they want to do. It have a prescribed system, and we just basically follow that prescribed system, and then we in school, and then we just go out for a job. Or if we have more talents or we have a market, then we just go into that market. But basically, it's not really a thing. It just when it comes to entrepreneurship and that kind of thing.
Going back to that question though, of are people living up to their full potential? Isn't society as the whole thing just going with the flow? We look at that, we have an education system in St. Lucia. You have a school from DTEMS where you have business, and then the majority of people actually work for a business and do not open up a business. So are we actually living to our potential, or are we just following the trend of the whole society?
But that being said, we just basically going in the flow, we just follow it.
See, we
following the trend.
Following the trend.
We're really suffering from a very, basically, if the European world or the Western world is looking to indigenous cultures at this point in time to give solutions and ideas for modern problems, why are we still looking to them for solutions to our problems when we're the very indigenous world that they're talking about? So we're really playing some weird games with ourselves, and that's why
playing some Russian roulette.
Yeah, because the culture is really what's been baffling us. We naturally, by nature, we entrepreneurs. Everybody back in the day was known to have their little business. They have their little shops in the in the communities and who's selling fish, who's doing the. Everybody always had more than one thing.
Let me tell you, why did you decide to own your own business and do your own business? Was it hard finding work, or you just decided this is what you want to do? You want to be self-employed?
I decided that's what I want to do because, you know, when you read like the workings of Marcus Garvey will tell you that every man in himself is a sovereign lord. So you do not bow down, or you do not go to a subservient position if you do not have to. Or if you do go to work, you go to learn. And I felt that I already had my first job. My first job was excellent. I worked with Liberty Foods. And I was the head breakfast chef. And I mean, during that period, I really got to learn a lot about employment, about diplomacy and dealing with individuals. And of course, I got to even perfect my craft, going even further into it. But then there's still the aspect of feeling that you are fulfilling yourself and that you are doing what you're supposed to do with full creative control. And I think that everybody within themselves, once they find a niche, and they, you know, some people will speak about tunnel vision or laser vision, going into it with that level of intensity will always lead to success. And I realized that, you know, I was being pushed, even when I wasn't necessarily looking towards that. My entire network would push me to do what I'm doing. Even if I didn't want to do it, just because of the way I've built myself and the way I've basically began my journey. I have to do it. And this is something that I'm passionate about as well.
Yeah, and the thing is that every man I think is supposed to have some supplementary income. A lot of us have one main form of income. So that if we lose a job right now, right, within 3 months we're already on the breadline because we have no finance. But if you have a supplement job, okay, where you have income coming in, if you lose a job, you can call a
side job.
With this situation, with the drinking thing at the feds, you can take that same thing and reflect it in regards to the cannabis mixing with tobacco and the people getting COPD by the time they reach in their 40s. That's
a major problem.
That's an epidemic. Easy word for it there. With that one there, that is a situation like you have to breathe, and like I can give you a story of a young person and how they got into smoking tobacco and cigarette. Marijuana and cigarette.
I get you.
Yeah, like they used to smoke their weed, and they used to get a lot of people like come in and smoke with them. Like they essentially
pass,
essentially weed malting. Now with the weed malting, they noticed that when they scatter some cigarette in their weed, the flies would scatter. So they started doing that. That's their reason. And eventually it just turned into addiction.
But was there any flies?
No, but I mean, by the time they realized that this putting the cigarette in there is really bad for me, it was already an addiction for them. It's already hard for them to quit. And that is such a solid addiction in terms of when you mix tobacco and marijuana, because the nicotine plus the marijuana is a whole different rush, and that is something that young people get into certain things, and they don't know what it's about. They don't know nothing. They don't know how bad it is for them. They jump into it and they swim in, and then they find out later, wow, I wish somebody had told me this.
But you see the thing is that most of the drugs that the youth trying to experiment is illegal. So you really cannot go to somebody and say, okay, I want to do such and such. Okay, how do I go about doing it? Because we're going to be labeled and stigmatized. So if you now, have a way where you can now bring people to a point where you can educate them about drug use and what drugs that shouldn't go together, then people will have a better idea of what they're doing. But since that thing is illegal, then people now have to go through back channels and back doors to get things.
You see, I still don't agree with that one day. You see, the illegal thing, like, that has nothing to do with it. Education, when you educate somebody, you can be educating somebody about something happening in Japan, and it don't have nothing to do with anything, but you're educated on it. If I run into it, I know that, boy, there's a shark. Like, I never ran into a shark, but I said, okay, I go want to swim towards the shark. So it's a situation where we really lacking certain guidance based on certain stigmas in the society. It's like we just need some program. We need some proper guidance in certain areas, and we don't mind doing it for ourselves. We've never mind doing it
When
for
you say
ourselves.
guidance, what do you really mean?
In terms of like, if you are to tell that guy that spread.
You're talking about the elders.
Yeah, in terms of the elders, like y'all raise us to come to the current position that we are at.
Your head hard, you don't like to listen.
No.
A lot of your head hard, you don't like to listen. Even if they tell you to do this, you're doing what you want.
But it's not about telling us to do it, it's about the reasoning, it's about the way. Like, okay, a lot of the thing is the way you talk to us is the love. Like what y'all was taught that is love or showing love is not necessarily what is love, because we come from a slave society. We come from a plantation society.
So you're basically saying right now the youth, you guys, you're not really getting the love that you're supposed to be getting.
Now we're not at all.
But we're looking at a developing country, right? Just flash to country, the Scandinavian countries like Finland. The way that these people care for their youth, you could tell that they know what's really gonna happen.
They have free teachers in a classroom.
Yeah. So come on, of course we know very well that we are lapsing behind in so many areas, and that's more reason for concern. And we even have our indigenous community styles, which would foster that. Now, speaking of the community style, young people are still serving as these socially responsible people, because you are still the one who's supposed to take care of your brethren when you're going to these parties. We can still hold each other accountable, not to the point of condemning, but to making sure that we all stick together, so we can look out for one another, and that's an important factor. But the elders, we find that a lot of elders don't want to be elders, because the people who are really supposed to give back that level of guidance and knowledge still have not necessarily conquered certain aspects of I wouldn't just say maturity, but in general understanding society and understanding the issues. So that's why we always have this backlog of information, because the young people are coming to find the same situation that you found 20, 30 years ago. I mean, whatever's happening now, a lot of the time, as much as we look at it, sometimes in hindsight, sometimes in present moment, a lot of these things have been happening for years. And it's just a lack of guidance sometimes, the societal guidance and push, that we don't find the young people picking up on it as quick.
Right, well, I see you all doing very well. Young gentlemen, what helped you all to get to this level? Because it seems like you all have been guided the right way.
It's privilege. That's what I'd say. SMC. They have a network in the SMC there.
Okay.
It's to a certain extent that some have access to more than others do not have. There's an inequality of access to resources.
Okay.
And that's what we're trying to get past as well.
But going into that though, it goes on to this stem of the people around you influence you, and then the knowledge you have. Like a lot of things, if you check with our society, when you want to have a difficult conversation on topics where people view that, they don't actually have a discussion with you. They just either ignore you or come and say stupidness. They don't have a discussion and explain to you why is this or why things are so. And that stems to why the society is so. If you cannot have conversation.
Hold on, let me stop you there and put you back on the topic. Like using that point there, I can think about you telling somebody like, boy, like I'm having a rough time at home. A young person, you telling them, you know what they going to tell them? No, go to a fete and drink rum. That is the solution.
But does that work?
It doesn't work. So, but who taught them that?
Yeah.
Who taught them that? Yeah. I
don't know. I should try to find out.
But you see, with me, okay, my mother, okay, single mother, single parent, right, has done her best, in raising me. One of the things that she always tell me, hey, you go to school straight, come back straight. Don't loiter, don't follow any bad company, I will give you yourself. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm where I am today. I haven't exposed myself to bad companies.
You haven't strayed away.
I haven't strayed away, so because I haven't necessarily strayed away from or following bad company, I haven't necessarily pick up those streets.
Yeah.
But for example, you who listen to your parents, and then now, for example, a person like me who live in the ghetto area, I cannot avoid bad company. So in terms of that, and then I listen to my mother, I must be approached. Did she ever guide me on what to do in situations where a bad company approached me, and then there's no situation where I could escape, and then I have to convince that person?
So how are you dealing with it?
Well,
I mean, you put yourself out there, so how are you dealing with it? I mean, to help maybe a young man or a young lady, you know, who's living in the ghetto or living in bad parts or whatever, you know, and trying to get on the right track. How do you deal with these situations and stuff, keeping away from bad company?
well, for me as an individual, I always treat people as individuals. I don't really base my head on terms of if you're bad or stuff. And I take in information from you, but I don't necessarily want to be like you. I want to be like myself.
Okay.
So in terms of that, I had a strong influence that people might not have. How many people you find on a block that would literally say, okay, you give me a joint and ask the person, why do I want to smoke this joint? What are the effects? You don't get that. People are like, wow boy, they give me a joint. I go smoke it. They never come and say like, wait, do I want to smoke the joint myself? Is this me? Or something like that. So they have all these things.
That's identity now. You see, if we really look at identity as a general concept, I mean, a lot of people, we could say that they don't really know themselves, that they've really been sensitized, and some people even live in a state of shock. You jump out of your bed at 6 a.m., you go to work, you rush. I mean, some people literally live there like in a state of shock. And that's become a norm. Mental health. I think Joel would have loved to mention that, but trust me, we have not fully been able to diagnose like normal people for having certain mental health issues, and it's because of that is transmitted into all sorts of situations.
Yeah,
So-
where only people with autism on the autism spectrum, where only people with so many different mental health problems, they just in the system and the system failing them literally, because you're not hearing about anything being for like any care for them, any what they would
Programs, I guess.
any
Support.
programs, any support.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
dealing with that, and then identity. Trust me, as a young person, not everybody is gonna have the level of maturity that you might see amongst us or amongst other groups of young people to say that they are firm and solid, they know who they are, and so on. A lot of young people are still trying to find a niche and trying to be guided towards themselves so that they could discover the beauty within. So as every individual would want to do to learn and to nurture themselves, we have to take time to know ourselves, and we have to do that through culture, and the elders have to be the pilots. So perhaps I've had a lot of guidance personally from a lot of different individuals, you know, and that's of course led to why I understand my position. But then have we truly done that for all young people to say that we've provided that level of supplementation? And in the mental health faculty, that's important, because if a young person was dealing with a bipolar syndrome, how many persons could actually notice that? If it was mad, could they notice it? But that same child might not be performing at school. And then when they try to medicate using illicit substances, everybody looks at them like a delinquent. So where do they head down that path?
As somebody who's visually impaired, you know how many people that go through the school system with visual impairments, and it's when they reach secondary school or their school that's when you realize they have visual impairments.
Oh, is that what happened to you?
Not what happened to me, but I've heard of the stories.
Okay.
Right? Because when the teacher's in the classroom, or you don't realize, okay, that person is not functioning right in the classroom because they cannot see the board.
Let me ask you that. So do you think like in today's society have failed to help guide you?
Today's society, when you speak in society, you meaning what?
I'm talking about like right now at this very moment. I'm talking about the leaders. I'm talking about.
I think that without like my close family and connections, I would be nothing. Like I would be floating out there. I would literally be exactly what you're talking about in terms of I would just be not doing nothing in my life, because it's a situation where I know these people's stories and none of us just get to that youth organization space in like just we were out there, we were our friends, the same people you go to school with. St. Lucia is a very small place. Some of them they take that lifestyle in the badness thing. Some of them going that way, some of them going that way, and the influence is hitting you bam 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 to have a solid take on things when you're trying to find your own identity, when you're trying to solidify your own foundation. That is a hard thing. And right now there, if it wasn't for the family, like close family, your mother, your father, the people that don't have that supportive role in their life, I think that they are more likely to definitely go astray, because like that is how it is sometimes there.
Okay.
And then in general, you know, we look at the society and the roles that everybody is supposed to play. We cannot expect anybody to be better than us ourselves. So that's a very individualistic concept that we deal with, because everybody has a family, everybody has friends, everybody is developing their own skill, the ability to mentor and so on. So it has to be a societal movement, which doesn't happen overnight, but we are all here as advocates for that. So I think the level of advocacy and social responsibility is placed in the hands of every young person. If you have a smartphone, we literally have the responsibility to fill the social media with content that's positive and that could help other young people. And then still we have to look at it on the other spectrum, that the leaders must consider the complexity of our situation. Because it is not, listen, there have been scholars for years past who have looked at the Caribbean, who have looked at our economy, looked at a lot of things, and we don't really read them, nor do we understand what they've said. That's why we find ourselves, even as, I meet adults who still haven't really read the works of Marcus Garvey. And this is so important in revolutionary thinking. Or perhaps even the modern day John Maxwell. You know, we really have to furnish ourselves and equip ourselves.
Or even our Nobel laureates,
exactly.
They report to Sir Arthur Lewis.
So Arthur Lewis, big up on him. He still have a whole model he built just for St. Lucia to use. Yeah, you do it. I don't know, yeah. Singapore users, they do it just fine.
And you all basically using it.
Well, well, we try to implement certain practices in it.
Okay.
But then it has to be done efficiently, and it has to be a total buy-in. So that's really where the focus has to be. For a developing country, we have to realize it's a serious thing. When you leave your young people to go out on the streets, it's a serious world as well. So it's not that, you know, again, if we're not identifying the mental issues, if we're not providing the support, if there's not enough guidance, when we send our young people out there, we're sending them to get eaten, because there's already something that's happening. There's already the societal norm that everybody's observing, and anybody with a solid who has that business mindset, perhaps, and who's not, perhaps maybe that they're not looking to develop young people, they might go into parties and fetes and whatever, and they might do the same level of exploitation that the alcohol company's always been doing, because that's still the trend.
All right, sound good. Chanzo has worked really good for you guys, so I think we need to big up Chanzo and give Chanzo a big shout out. I think you guys see it twice a week. What days are those again?
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, so we need to give Chanzo a big shout out. You understand? So after 3, shout out Chanzo. 1, 2, 3. Chanzo!